Hi, welcome to the Magnetic Mismatch Show. This is Linda.
And this is Will, and I just dusted off some breadcrumbs off my shirt.
I just took off some lipstick on my teeth.
Oh my gosh.
We're a mess.
Well, you were cranky just a couple of minutes ago.
What? I'm just a hangry person. When I'm hungry, I'm hangry.
This is our second take because somebody got really cranky on the first time we went doing this.
Hey.
Hey, we had a nice snack though.
We did. Some PB&J.
Oh, it's like oven, warmed it up,
Yeah.
melted peanut butter.
On
Delicious
raisin
stuff.
bread.
Yeah.
So good.
So you ready for this now?
Yeah, I'm ready now. I
Okay,
feel so much better.
You feel like yourself now?
Yeah. No longer hangry.
I think the listeners appreciate that too. So speaking of the listeners, we actually have a pretty special and important message that we wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
Which is?
We'd like to say thank you to everyone who's listened to our podcast, everyone who gave us a 5-star rating, everyone who sent us a word of encouragement.
Yeah, and all the amazing reviews, and just what's crazy is like we were totally surprised and just blown away by the positive responses from everybody, you know, because we came into this with a pretty high bar.
Yeah. Our goal was to have one listener.
One real listener. No robots, no like.
If we had one listener, Will and I were going to continue to podcast and talk their ears off.
I feel bad for that one person though, if that was the case.
It's probably your mom.
Yeah, probably my mom. My mom loves me, so. But we want to really put out a heartfelt thank you to everybody that's listened to our podcast, that's listening right now. That means you. So thank you. What's interesting too is it isn't just people in the US that's been listening to our podcasts either.
Yeah, we've been blown away by how supportive people around the world have been.
Yeah, we have listeners just based on the demographics from Spain to the UK to Australia to the Philippines and many other places. I know, I never would have thought that would be the case, but here we are. We're international. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? And of course, I also want to make a very special thank you to all of the podcast community too.
Yeah, they've been beyond kind to us.
It's crazy. The amount of support and encouragement from fellow podcasters and just people, it's crazy. I'm like lost for words, because people have been so positive, so encouraging, and just, really supporting each other.
And for that, we thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we hope you guys continue to listen. We're listening to some of your podcasts as well. There's only so many hours in a day, but we have a list, and, we're kind of going through that as well. So cool. So let's get into the topic then of today.
Our favorite, our passion, traveling.
Yes.
We love to travel.
That we do. We've been very fortunate, actually. Every single year we've been able to do that.
Yeah, for the past, 12 years?
Yeah. Wow.
We've been able to travel every single year and multiple times a year sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've been spoiled.
Yeah, and so we want to talk about traveling. We're going to give you guys some background on our travel experience, and also, what made us fall in love with traveling. But we also wanted to share maybe some of the lessons that we've learned along the way. Definitely some of the things that have gone wrong and how we figured things out. But we want to make this as lighthearted and positive as we can.
Yeah.
So let's start there. I guess, where have we been, love, so far?
So for the past couple of years, we've been traveling to Europe a lot. Mm-hmm. We've been to Spain, Italy, different cities in Italy. It's huge. Italy is huge in itself.
Yeah.
There's a lot of destinations to go to there. France. We've been to Paris, around the French Riviera on a cruise. We've been to Ireland, Germany.
Yeah.
And we've done some state trips in Hawaii.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I think you make a good point though. So a lot of cool places for sure. And, when you were saying that, even a place like Italy, it's a relatively small country, right, compared to a lot of others, but there's a lot of cities in Italy that are worth checking out.
Yeah.
And usually people split their trips into two halves, right? There's the northern part of Italy and then there's the southern part. So, I mean, we've only really been to one part, I think more of the northern side, or maybe like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
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 So still a lot of places to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a little bit about some of the places we've been to. You haven't really been to Asia much.
I've never been to Asia.
At all?
At all.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
okay, I
was born in Asia, but I've never gone back to Asia.
The motherland? You don't want to go back and visit?
Of course I do.
It's on the list.
It's on the list.
Where is the motherland for you?
Vietnam.
Oh, okay. I've heard only good things though.
Yeah, I mean, I should have gone back when my dad went back a couple years ago.
He goes pretty frequently, right?
Or every couple years.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think he goes back to visit his dad's gravesite.
Okay.
Yeah, and to see, we don't really have families over there left.
I see.
He had a sister that was over 100 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but she recently passed, so I really don't have relatives over there to go back.
So it'd be more like just being able to visit your roots and things like that.
Yeah. But I'd like to take that trip with my parents.
Okay.
I want them to show me around where I was born, the hospital I was born at.
Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Am I invited to that trip at all, or?
Are you gonna fund it?
Wait, why are you hesitating? That should be a no-brainer.
Okay, you can go if you fund it.
Wow. Okay. With strings attached. Okay, yeah. I see. Yeah. Or what if I just like carry all the bags and like all that?
You mean like muling?
Yeah. Well, actually, never mind. I do that already, anyways.
Yeah. So. Yeah. You do that for free already. So
man, hubby duties, I guess. Okay, interesting. I haven't been back to China since I was like a really little kid, actually, probably when I was maybe 5 years old when my parents took me. And I don't remember a whole lot about it other than running around chasing like chickens and farm animals because, my parents grew up in a village and that's where they brought me. So we didn't get to see all the cool things like the Great Wall or anything like that. And I think when you're that young, you just don't appreciate it. You don't know what the heck you're seeing, know? So it'll be nice to go back one day and maybe I'll consider bringing you along too. And we'll go from there. Maybe you can carry my bags. How about that?
No, I'll just take your sister.
Wow. Okay. Seems like
you have options. Or I could just take my mom.
Okay.
Or my dad.
That's cool. So basically,
or a stranger.
Oh, you'd rather go on like a
tour.
So you go on a tour with not knowing anybody, and you'd rather go alone than go with me. Wow. Looks like I have some work cut out for me. Jeez. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about then. Like, what about? I guess because we've been to so many places and been very fortunate, right?
Very fortunate. It's been a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're thankful that we can do that. On a regular basis. What would you say has been your, I don't know, favorite place? Actually, no. Before we get into your favorite place, because that's a good one.
That's kind of hard.
That's kind of hard. It's a different one. I'll let you marinate on that one. Let's start with an easier one. How about let's talk about, I don't know, what made you fall in love with traveling? Like what sparked that interest in the first place?
Ooh. Okay, so I think with traveling, initially, I don't think I loved traveling initially. Because, in college, I couldn't afford to travel. That was one.
You were a broke college student?
Broke college student.
I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Yeah. And I was busy studying a lot. I was a bio major.
So you lived in the library, basically.
I lived in the library during undergrad. So I didn't really appreciate traveling, but I think once I got to grad school, you took me on my first trip out of the country, which was to Mexico, to Ensenada on a cruise.
Oh,
I mean, I appreciated the trip, But the fact that I was seasick every single day.
Which, by the way, I did not know that. You didn't even say anything about it.
I had the worst seasick. That's why I opted out on every dinner every night. I don't know if you've noticed. I just felt sick. So I didn't really enjoy that trip because all I could remember from that trip was being seasick.
Yeah.
Right?
You were in the room a lot.
Yeah. I was in the room a lot. And then the second trip was through your company, and we were going to the Caribbean.
That's a nice jump.
Yeah.
But that was also on a boat, on a cruise.
I was very nervous. I was extremely nervous, but I didn't want to miss out on an opportunity of not being able to experience the Caribbean. So I decided, oh, what the heck, I'll give it another shot. But we were very lucky because the boat was very stable.
Mm-hmm. It was a big boat.
It was a very big boat, and the water wasn't as bumpy, if that's the right term.
You probably just don't feel it as much when you're on like a huge cruise ship, you know?
Yeah, and I think the water was a lot calmer.
Sure, that's true.
It could have been luck too.
Maybe we went at the right time. Who knows?
And we got to see a lot of the different islands. We went to St. Bart's, St. Kitts, Antigua, St. John's. Like, we got to see a lot of the different islands in the Caribbean. And I think the fact that I could physically enjoy the trip and kind of take in the fact that with every island we stop at, it was a complete different experience.
Okay, right.
I think that's when I'm like, wow, the world is huge and I really am sheltered, bubbled.
Right.
And that's when I'm like, I need to travel more. I need to experience more. Right. And it kind of opened my eyes to how fortunate we are here in the US too.
Right.
We stopped at Antigua. I know you
I
were
gave you the look.
Yeah, you're correcting me, but I'm like potatoes.
Yeah.
So we stopped at Antigua, and one of the things that Will's company that he worked to prior was every time they did a trip, we would leave a destination better by doing a volunteer experience.
I love that, actually. That was really cool.
That was really cool. And we always signed up to be part of the volunteer crew.
Right.
And one of the volunteer experience was to renovate like a senior living facility. And when we arrived to this facility, it was a simple,
rundown.
Very rundown, little house. Like, it was like a giant room. It's not even a house. It didn't have rooms or anything.
Yeah.
And the paints were chipped. The grasses were probably taller than us.
Yeah, lots of weeds.
Yeah, and they didn't have like a fence to help protect the facility.
Right.
So what we did was we put up a fence to help. A new fence. We cut their weeds, and then we painted the facility. And they had very little, but yet everyone was very just happy.
Yeah.
They looked very happy with the little that they have, and it makes you really appreciate, the fact that we have so much here in the U.S. that we take for granted. And it kind of makes you think that you really don't need much to be happy.
Yeah.
It's okay. And it makes you realize to really appreciate what you have, be thankful for what you have, but it's okay to strive for more.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about that in one of our last episodes. Podcast. Yeah. About gratitude. But yeah, I mean, when you travel, it definitely reminds you so much about that, especially being fortunate enough to be here in the US. I mean, we have almost unlimited resources, right? Everything's available to us. And yet when you go to another country or a third world country in some cases, you really see it, and you see people living, in conditions that we were kind of shocked about. But again, like you said, they were still happy, still smiles, right? Still enjoying life and all that. So I think that was great. Like a very humbling experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what makes me really appreciate as well is, when we stopped at some of these islands, kids were working during school hours.
Yeah.
And it made me really appreciate the fact that, growing up in the US, I got to go to school. I didn't have to worry about working during certain hours. All I had to worry about was get good grades and help out with the chores at home. Nothing more.
Right.
And also, one thing I really appreciate while traveling is you'll run into people that are very hospitable and trustworthy. I remember one of the destinations we stopped at, the taxi driver drove us off to it was quite a drive, a 45-minute drive.
Beach,
to the beach. And she did not take our money until she picked us up from the beach and got us back safely to the boat.
Oh, wow. That's right. I forgot about that.
And that type of trust blew me away.
Yeah.
Because we could have just gotten on another taxi.
Right.
But
I
no,
know.
She made sure that we got back to our boat safely.
Yeah. She knew we were tourists too, and she was willing to help out. And
I was blown away.
Yeah, that's a great example. I totally didn't think about that again. I was like, yeah, it's small things like that.
Yeah.
That's what you run into when you travel, and that's why we love it. You never know what to expect, and you get to see and just experience, other cultures, other worlds, right? Or not other worlds, but other countries, and you become more empathetic. I think you're more understanding of other people, and you're more, I think, in the mindset of celebrating differences versus judging or prejudging, I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, no, it does.
Yeah.
Because when you're traveling, it opens up your eyes to the way other people live. And just because something is weird to you doesn't mean it's weird to somebody else. Right. And they may think how you do something is weird.
Right.
But the fact that you can see differences in the way other people live, it helps you become a more understanding person, a more relatable person, because you can empathize with somebody.
You can empathize, and that's what makes life interesting, the differences.
The differences.
Right. And it, like you said, I think it expands your perspective. It definitely helps to open your eyes a little bit about the scope of the world, right? Like how big the world really is and all the differences that are out there. So yeah, pretty interesting things.
Yeah. So why did you fall in love? Or
yeah, for me, I think I can think back to the first time that I actually really got to travel was after college. I was very lucky. And this, keep in mind, this was back in 2007.
You're aging yourself, Will.
This was right after college. It's not that far long ago, but back in 2007 when I graduated, I had the opportunity through my college. They had a program that allowed us as in the graduates, to take a 3-week, I think it was 20 days, 3-week trip to Europe. Basically, you just paid I think it was $5,000, something ridiculous, right?
Wow.
Something unbelievably cheap now in today's standards for that kind of trip.
Now.
Because that 20 days was completely covered.
Wow.
They paid for all the meals for the most part, right? They paid for the hotels, all the activities, they scheduled and everything. So really, we didn't have to do any thinking. We just got to, enjoy the trip for what it was. And we visited, I think over 20 countries, not 20 countries, I'm sorry, 20 cities.
Wow.
But we did see quite a bit, the main parts of Western Europe. So that was really nice. And going through that experience so early in my life, in my early 20s, it allowed me to just interact with people outside of the US, outside of my city. Really got to engage with people, talk to the locals, which we always love doing when we travel.
It's our favorite thing to do.
Yeah, and just talking to people like how life is out there, right? That was just so interesting to me. And then, the other part is just discovering, right? To learn and to uncover and be in the unknown, and just, it's exciting to me. It's like, wow, right? It's all new. Yeah. So that was really cool. So that's kind of what got me excited and addicted really to traveling. And it's like, as soon as I came back, I was like, I need to go again. I need to go next year. I want to discover more. I want to learn more, be out there and experience more and eat more too, for sure.
I was going to say, you forgot to eat more. I'm like looking at you.
Let's be real. That's why
eat more first.
That's why we enjoy traveling the most. Because we joke about it too, where we'll go to awesome places and we'll snap some photos of some historical sites, some landscapes, and beautiful scenery, but the bulk of the time, what are we doing, love?
We're just eating.
We're eating our way through the destination. So but yeah, to me that was the most interesting part, is getting to know the people, how they live, interacting, and you meet some pretty cool people as you travel, mm-hmm. Yeah, and we made some friends around, different countries and things like that too. Yeah. So very nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What would you say? I mean, like I said, we've been very fortunate. We've been to quite a few places so far. What would you say has been your favorite then? Coming back to that question.
Ooh, that's a hard one. Can I pick two?
Sure.
I think it's for different reasons.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. It's pretty hard to narrow it down to only one.
So if I take out the emotional side out of my favorite destination, then it would have to be Portugal.
What do you mean take out the emotional side? Yeah. What does that mean?
Let me get into it first. Hold up. Let me finish.
Isn't that what makes it fun, or why you like it?
No, it's different. I'll get into it.
Do explain, please. Yeah. Now I'm really curious.
Okay, so if I take out the emotional side of a destination, then it'd be Portugal, which was a surprise because it was one of the places where we just kind of added on to our trip. But to
Spain.
Yeah, to Spain, which I was so glad we did because something about Portugal, it's like the food to the people. It's just amazing. It's just, I think about, where would you want to retire?
Whoa.
When I'm old? It's like there's no hesitation unless I go somewhere that blows my mind even further. It would be Portugal at this moment.
Of the places we've been.
Yes, of the places we've been.
Okay, so it's a contender for
because because I think about it, transportation was super easy, super clean. It wasn't as packed or fast paced as it is in Italy. Okay. Like the doors don't shut as fast.
You're talking about like the trains?
Yeah, the train. Transportation is really easy. The food is amazing. The people are incredibly friendly, and it's
very hospitable.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
We went to
Porto,
Lisbon, and Sesimbra.
Yeah.
Right.
Sesimbra, yeah, that was nice. That was by the beach.
So
you can't really complain about that.
That's where I would want to retire. So
what was cool about that too was, since that was our last stop, we had really fresh seafood out there. Like they caught it like in the morning, right? The fish, and then they would bring it to the local restaurants.
Yeah, and if you wake up early enough, you could see the fishermen coming in with their boats. It's amazing.
It doesn't get any fresher than that, right?
No.
Yeah.
So my favorite memory, and we just had so much. I just remember that trip. We just had so much fun.
We were so relaxed. I think that's
relaxed.
What it was. The whole point of a vacation, right?
Yeah, but it's something about Portugal. It's just like, it's like packed with a lot of things to do, but it wasn't as busy as it is in Italy.
Yeah. So side note, because we went to Spain first before we went to Portugal. And because they're neighboring countries, we added on Portugal because we didn't really know much about it. You hear people talk about Spain and Barcelona, Madrid, all those places a lot, but you don't hear as much, at least not from people we've interacted with, about Portugal. So we didn't really know what to expect. I think that also helped with some magic of it, right?
Yeah. So that was, I don't know, something about that trip was so magical to me.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite. But if I had to put the emotional side into it, it'd be Italy. Just because, yes, Will is very romantic. If you didn't know.
Say that again? I didn't hear you. What was that?
Bleep. It got bleeped out. If you didn't know, Will proposed to me in Florence.
Yes.
Right after a couple failed attempts, but that's something we'll get into at a later time, or maybe another episode because it's quite a story. But so after we've been in Italy, well, we've been traveling quite a bit, and Will wanted to propose at the end of the trip, which was in Florence. After an opera show, he was going to take me to the canals to propose, but it started pouring rain. And so he proposed back at the hotel. But I think it's such a special trip because that's one of the moments where I felt like, it's a huge milestone. So I always have a special spot for Italy. So it was so special that Will and I, we both took our parents to Italy last fall.
Right.
And I think it's just the
that's another memory that you can add.
Yeah. So something about Italy will always have such a special, place in my heart. And that was the first time that we took our parents to any international trips.
Right.
That's the first time we've ever really did a major travel ever with them. So something about that is so special. So if I had to factor that in, then it would be Italy.
Yeah. Be number one.
Number one.
Fair. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Out, then Portugal.
Objectively, you mean? Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty close, spot, right? I mean, it's close. It's a close race, is what I mean.
It is.
They're both amazing countries to visit, and we had great memories at both places. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, I agree with you in that regard. You
can't just copy me. Come up with your own answers.
I definitely think Italy, I mean, we've been there more than once, so there's a reason for that, right? And I think I agree with you on that one. I
mean, we've been to Spain more than once too.
Yeah. Spain was great.
Spain's great.
Lots of good food, all that. I think Italy's number one for me too, because of those reasons. Like you said, the emotional aspect of it. It's just because when you travel, let's face it, what you remember the most is obviously the interactions and the things that you created there together, right? The memories. It's not necessarily just what you saw or how packed your itinerary was or, any of that really. It's who you're there with and what you guys remember after the trip from that experience, And like you said, it's also milestones, right? Those are two pretty big milestones.
Yeah.
So you haven't been to Asia, as you mentioned earlier, but I have been to Thailand, before. I've been to Hong Kong, right, which I really enjoyed as well. So those will always be very good trips for me too.
Yeah. Thanks for the invite.
Those were really fun. And now that I think about it, I actually went on those trips, I think, before the Europe trip. But the Europe trip was what really got me. Oh, you're giving me the look.
Why wasn't I invited? Rude.
But yeah, it's different. Like Asia is very different from Europe, obviously. And the experiences, things like night markets and just different like things that you'll see, right? Different architecture, different cultural experience. So I think the solution is we just got to go to all of it, right? I mean, isn't that, would you agree with that?
I agree. We will eventually.
We will. We definitely will. We have a pretty long list. But yeah, those are pretty special places for us. And we definitely want to create more memories. I think one of the things we've done a better job of as we've traveled over time is documenting and taking photos.
Yeah.
Taking videos, just capturing some of those special moments, because early on, we did a really bad job of that.
Yeah, we would go on an entire trip and not even have a photo.
I know, that was so bad.
And we would beg people for their photos so we could have something.
I know, some of our friends, we were very lucky that they were willing, they liked it, right? Or they enjoyed, or they were willing. Taking photography.
And taking candids of people. And we were lucky to have a couple from them.
And we would have to, like you said, we had to wait for them to, upload and do all that stuff. So but it's not the same.
No, it's not. So we've gotten better at documenting our travels, but there's a fine line because we didn't want to document so much that we're living,
through the camera
the entire trip.
I've been guilty of that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And initially, when we realized that we've been doing such a poor job documenting the trip,
right?
We became obsessive almost.
Just constantly taking photos.
Yeah. And I felt like it takes away from the trip too. So it's just a fine balance. So now it's as long as we have a couple of good photos, a couple of good videos, then we're okay with that.
Right. But that was something we learned, right? Was to be present also, be in the moment, take it all in. I think that's what it was. I mean, I remember you telling me, and we were there for a little while, but at the Sistine Chapel, and you were just quiet. I've never seen you that quiet.
I think I sat there the first time for 45 minutes, just trying to take quite a long time.
I was like, oh, you ready to go? And you're like, no. Yeah. You're just like, okay, I'm not going to bother her. I had seen it before and I think I had the same response, but second time, even then it was just like, whoa, this is so cool,
Yeah, it blows my mind that they didn't have the technology to paint, on the ceilings, and it was all handcrafted. It's amazing. Yeah. Some of these structures. And
you don't see that anymore. The artwork, the level, the mastery, and
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not like the history books, where you just look at a picture and it's like, oh, cool, Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, and it's something magical about just being there versus looking at a piece of art, through a photo. You can't experience the I don't know, it's just magical.
Or even the Colosseum or any of those structures, right? You're there, or the Michelangelo's David, right? Seeing in person the Mona Lisa. Yeah, that was interesting.
That was really good.
We got really lucky, actually, to be able to see that.
We went right as the museum was closing because we kind of ran out of time because we were only in Paris for 2 days. And it was, we had some setbacks because it was raining really hard. It was flooding in Paris. The train system were on a strike.
Right.
And we booked a hotel not knowing that it was really far away from the center. So the first day when we were there, we wasted most of the time trying to figure out the train system because it kept stopping. Every stop, it would stop. Instead of running for a couple stops, it would stop at every stop. And we would have to get off and try to navigate.
Jump on another train.
Yeah. So from our hotel to the center, it took us 3-4 hours.
Was it that bad?
Yeah.
I think there was one day where that happened.
Yeah.
Because they stopped running certain trains too.
So then we lost basically almost a day.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So we only had a day left, which is the second day, to kind of fit everything in. And the morning of, we had a little photo shoot.
And it was raining also.
Yeah, and it took 2 hours on an Uber to get to the center from our hotel.
Right.
So we lost a lot of time, travel with the going back and
just
forth.
Transportation.
Yeah, so that's why we didn't get to go to the museum as long as we'd like. But we were able to catch the museum when they were about to close in 2 hours?
3 hours.
2-3 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
And Will's been there before, so he's like, okay, let's get in line right away to see the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
And we waited only an hour, I believe.
Yeah, because when you go to the Louvre, the museum, like that's probably the most popular attraction. Mm-hmm. And so even though there weren't that many people, we still had to wait an hour.
Yeah.
Right, in line just to get to catch a glimpse of it.
We actually got a couple minutes.
Actually, no, we were good this time.
Yeah, we got a video, selfies, single photos.
Yeah, because if you go during the high season, like in the middle of summer or when it's the most busy, like the last time I went before going with you, we had to wait several hours just to get into the museum. And then once you're in, lining up for the Mona Lisa is another couple of hours. And when you get to the front, because the Mona Lisa painting is still maybe 20 to 25 feet away from where the people can see it, right? There's a velvet robe that kind of blocks you off. They won't let you get closer. Even then, once you get to the front, you only have maybe like 5 to 10 seconds to take a quick snap photo, and then they kick you out to the next so that the other people can get in line or get in front and take a photo too.
Wow.
But we were very lucky, as you said. Lucky. The fact that we ran out of, we ran out of poses. I don't know. We took all that we wanted, right?
And
the photos.
We stood there. We stared at the photo.
We did. We had a chance to admire it.
Yeah, we did. I think we just went because it was towards the end of September.
Right.
So it was slightly off season. I wouldn't say it's completely off season.
No.
But it was slightly off season, and it was a rainy day, and a lot of people were avoiding going to the center because of the strike that was happening.
Right. So things worked in our favor.
System. Yeah. So it kind of worked out in that sense.
And that was the thing that we kind of learned through that process too, because obviously it wasn't expected. We didn't expect the rain. We didn't expect the strike because they, before we got there, the weather said it was going to be fine. It was going to be.
It was supposed to be hot.
Yeah.
So we didn't pack any jackets.
Even the locals all said like, "Oh, it was supposed to be sunny." It's very odd that this happened.
Yeah.
But because of all those unexpected things and not going the way that we had anticipated, we learned how to deal with it. Right? How to be more patient, be calm, and figure out a solution, right? Be resourceful, just make it work, figure it out, right? Yeah. What else are you going to do?
Ask for help.
Yeah. So those were good lessons that we learned from that as well.
And here's a tip. It was raining and we didn't bring any umbrellas. Just a tip. You can always ask your hotel to let you borrow one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the museum didn't really have any of that provided, obviously, either. Could they?
No, the museum doesn't let you borrow umbrellas.
No, they didn't. They just have you put your stuff in. I know, from the hotel.
Yeah, you just put your umbrella away.
Yeah.
So you just learn how to be resourceful. Ask for help. Ask the locals. They're usually really nice.
Yeah, and just staying calm, like I said, right? Because we could have totally been just like, all right, screw, forget this.
Yeah, let's go home. Let's go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
But no, we were determined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure it out, make it work, which we did.
But we also had another hiccup.
Did we? What was the other hiccup?
The airline went bankrupt.
Oh, on our flight home.
Yeah, on our flight home. That was an adventure. We were on our way back on the train back to Germany. Will was like, "Hey, let's check in on our flight," and I'm like, "Okay, you check in." And he went onto the website, and it said what?
Yeah, that basically the airline that we were supposed to go on went bankrupt, and so we had no flights home.
Great.
Cool. Dope. right? That's
Keep in
awesome.
mind, we were traveling still with our parents. So we had to tell them, hey, listen, we don't have a flight home tomorrow. We're going to figure it out right now. We're seasoned travelers. Don't worry, we got this.
Yeah.
So we were trying to book on our laptop. But every time we booked a flight during the checkout, it would decline because the flight was full before we were able to check out. So we're like, oh, uh-oh. So Will called our bank and they helped us book a flight, but they didn't have any flights available until the following day afterward. Right. So we stayed another night, one or two.
One extra night.
Yeah, one extra night in Germany.
Yeah.
And my uncle was nice enough to let us stay with him.
Yeah.
And so we made the most of it and we got to see Oktoberfest.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about that story in our gratefulness episode already, but, for people that may not have known, it's kind of a funny story that I like to bring up and share.
Yeah, but it's just, it teaches you how to be resourceful and and not let little things ruin the moment.
That's it.
Right?
Because stuff will always, it doesn't always work as according to plan,
It teaches
and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's life, right?
Yeah. It's, with traveling, I feel like it teaches you patience and how to stay calm.
Yeah.
In a lot of situations, unexpected scenarios will come up.
Right. And to stay positive.
Yeah. And it kind of teaches you leadership skills too, because it teaches you how to be creative, how to get yourself out of certain situations, think on your feet.
Yeah. To take charge and right. Nobody's going to give you the answer. You're going to have to be the one that figures it out. Mm-hmm. I think when we went on our trip with our parents too, it was funny because it felt like we were the ones that were the parents now and they're the ones that were the kids, right?
Yeah. Because they kept wandering off.
Yeah. So it was the first time also that we organized a trip and we for other people that were in our party, mm-hmm. right? And because we didn't want them to have to worry about any of the itinerary or where we're going to eat, where we're going to sleep, all that stuff, right? Yeah. We had all that planned and that was on us. And, that taught us important, lessons as well, right?
Yeah.
Leadership, organization, all that good stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of that kind of jumps to your mind? As far as, because traveling, I think, is an unbelievable experience. There's nothing else like it, right?
No.
And sometimes it's hard to explain to someone who has never traveled, right? How it helps you grow as a person. Because sometimes it might, somebody listening to this that maybe hasn't had that experience, they might say, no, like, would you get all that's like out of just going to a different place? Yes, that's what we're saying, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think traveling can be intimidating and kind of scary if you've never done it.
Right.
Just because there's so much unknown that happens when you're traveling. But I feel like once you do it a couple of times, then it becomes almost natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like anything else.
It takes away that fear,
mm-hmm.
right, of the unknown. And it's very helpful too. And I think it helps you apply that to your daily life.
Right. A lot of the lessons you learn carry on beyond traveling, right?
Yeah. We're less afraid of taking risks because, we know how to deal with the unknown and how to kind of stomach that fear.
Yeah.
So I think it's helped us there.
It's a muscle.
It is.
You're training yourself to be comfortable with uncertainty.
Yeah.
Not knowing what to expect. And it's okay, right? Sometimes we always want to have control of everything. We want to know, like before we move, mm-hmm. I need to know exactly, what's going to happen, where we're going to go. I know I'm kind of guilty of that sometimes,
I think we all are.
Yeah. You have a little bit of that control that you want to have to maintain, mm-hmm. But when you feel like you lose control, that's when it's scary, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. I mean, when you really think about what traveling is, you're literally going somewhere that you don't know anybody, most likely. And, you know, especially if you're new, right?
Yeah.
After it's not like that. But you go to a new place, foreign to you. You're not sure how things work. You're not sure. Maybe you don't even speak the language, right? Mm-hmm. So it can be very intimidating, like you said. But we hope that doesn't hold someone back from actually getting that experience, because once you go, most likely you're going to get addicted.
Yeah, and I feel like even, let's say, if you go on your first couple trips and you didn't like it, you should just ask yourself why. Why didn't I like it? And maybe pick destinations or plan better to make the trip more positive.
Yeah, you don't always have to have a rigid itinerary either. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes like when people travel, they only go with a tour group. But what about maybe creating your own itinerary, right? Do things that you want to do.
Yeah.
I think that would be more enjoyable for you, you know, if that's the case.
Yeah, or travel with somebody. Take a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to build some pretty...
family.
Yeah, you're going to deepen your relationship. You're going to share some unbelievable memories.
Yeah.
And that's what strengthens the relationship between you and that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the other thing too that we forgot to mention was, I know I was bad about this. We talked a little bit about like being present and being in the moment. And when I was working, what happened, love? You're giving me a look.
You were glued to your phone.
Yeah.
We would...
Because I had my email, my work email linked to my phone, and I would get notifications.
Yeah, and you kept looking at it, and I'm like trying to enjoy the moment, because it's my first time in Europe, and you kept looking at your phone, and I started getting irritated. I'm like, just put that thing away. Yeah. Put that thing away. And just...
I didn't know how to shut off, right? Even though we were on vacation,
yeah,
I didn't do a good job of, you know, separating that. You know, that was something I learned over time, was if you're on vacation, be on vacation. It's okay, right? It's
okay to disconnect.
Exactly.
It's good.
You need to disconnect.
Yeah, you need to disconnect.
To rejuvenate, to recharge your batteries.
And you come back better, in a better mood. You think clearer.
Yeah, I think part of it was I felt guilty. You know, I felt like, oh, I have clients that need me, right? They're messaging me or whatever, and I need to help them right away. But it's not life or death.
No.
At least not what I was doing, right? And so I just had to learn that it's okay to take the time off. And what's funny is when I talk to clients about it, they're like, yeah, you should go, on vacation. You should take time off. You should disconnect. We're going to be fine. It's okay. Go enjoy. You don't have to worry about us. And it's like, whoa,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So that was important. And that made the experience 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think as well, that's something you can learn that you've taken back home too.
Yeah.
I feel like you've been a lot more present.
Yes. Right. In every part. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we enjoy dinner together, you know, we're both present. We take away the phones. We don't let anything distract us. We talk to each other. We talk about our day.
Yeah.
Anything good, bad, whatever it is, we are able to really connect. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I really appreciate about Europe is people really take time to enjoy their meals.
Laid back. Sip on wine in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Coffee. They could just lounge for a couple of hours, just hang out, and they're not in a rush. It's a weekday too.
Yeah, I had so much fun doing that with my parents.
Yeah.
When we were in Europe, it's been, a minute since we've been able to have just extended periods together.
Right.
To enjoy like such a fun dinner every single night. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely a slower pace out in Europe. That's for sure what we felt. Sometimes it felt very slow paced. Like, do you remember when we were in Spain?
Oh, siesta?
Yeah, so siesta is, I guess we found out, basically a lot of businesses and services close for about a 3-hour period. I think it's like from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And we happened to land in one of the airports. It was a smaller airport, Malaga. And when we got there, our luggage, we were waiting for our luggage for like an hour, right?
We were tired because it was a long flight.
And we're like, where's our luggage? Did they lose it? But nobody got their luggage. And then 2 hours or something. No, I think we asked somebody, right? And they're like, oh, it's siesta time. I was like, wait, what's that?
I need to know what the siesta time is.
Yeah. So it's like nap time, I guess. I don't know. Break time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I tried bringing that back. I tried adapting that. I was like, hey, I learned something, guys, like to my manager. I learned something from traveling to Spain. Can we take this back and adopt it here in the US? No. Shut down completely.
I think you were doing that for a week.
I was pushing it a little bit there. Yeah, so
that'd be kind of nice, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's 2:00. Sorry, I'm gonna shut my office door, turn off the lights,
to me,
and roll out a mattress, and I'm gonna take a nap.
Take a quick nap, 3-hour nap.
Can you imagine? I'd be a happier person.
I think we all would.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. So I think there's people out there that would love to travel, right? I don't think we have to sell it too hard for most people, but maybe the barrier for some people, and I know it was for us at one point, was the cost, right? It's not cheap to travel necessarily. Yeah.
Please don't go in debt trying to travel. I think for us, we were lucky because your job allowed us to travel.
Yeah, to quite a few places.
Yeah, so that's a perk. So I think you're fresh out of school or looking for a career change and you want to travel. I mean, look into companies' perk. Yeah. You never know. I mean, it could be one of the things you
like
can,
an
incentive, right? To doing well. Or I think also now there's a lot of travel credit cards.
Yeah.
That's how we've been able to fund a lot of our trips.
Yep.
Is that we have one card that Will and I charge all of our expenses on to build points.
Right.
That we use towards the end of the year to travel.
Yeah, to pay for like hotel rooms or fun activities, meals.
And they add up fairly quickly because if you're dining out or if it's like a business expense and stuff, there's certain categories that are like extra points.
Yeah.
And it adds up pretty fast.
Just make sure though, if you're putting your expenses on the card, that you're paying it off every month, that you're not building a balance.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
Like I said, don't go broke trying to travel. And you know what? Listen, even if you don't have the money to travel, it's okay. I've learned, through my experiences from traveling and talking to other people, and I've done it myself as well, is doing road trips.
Yeah.
Right? It's fairly inexpensive. Another thing is you could just do like a long weekend trip to another city around your area.
Yeah, you can start with baby steps, right? It doesn't have to be out of the country, 15-hour flights or anything like that, anything extravagant.
Yeah. And another helpful tip is if you can't afford to travel during the busy seasons, try to travel off season.
Right.
It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
From the hotels to the flights to everything. You're going to save yourself quite a bit of money by traveling off season. And also just looking for deals.
Yeah, there's so many websites now that specialize in travel deals.
Yeah, and be flexible with your dates and your locations. You may not get to go to your dream destination immediately, but that's okay because that could be, a goal you work towards.
Yeah, that's motivation, right? Yeah. To work harder, to build some savings. And make sure to save towards those things that you want to do, obviously. And in the meantime, like you said, you could probably hit some other places that aren't, the top choice, but at least it gets you that motivation and experience of traveling.
Yeah. You never know. You could run into a gem.
Yeah. Portugal for us.
For us. Yeah. So you never know. And I think just by traveling, the fact that you get to meet different people or other people from who you normally interact with.
All walks of life.
All walks of life, and just experience like a different culture, different food. It's just, it opens up your mind. Regardless, it doesn't have to be, a certain destination. It's all destinations.
Right. Yeah. No, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. I think, so I don't have anything else.
No.
So make sure you guys share with us about maybe your travel experience, some places that you've enjoyed going to, and
make some recommendations for us. We're building this giant bucket list.
Yeah. And of course, what are some lessons you guys have learned from your travels? Where, and that's a good point. Where do we want to go to maybe after this is all over, the whole crisis?
Well, I would hope. Okay, third time is a charm. Come on, please make it happen for us, universe. This is our, once we plan it again, this will be our third attempt to make it to Japan. Please let this work out.
Yeah.
We've had two failed attempts already.
Yeah. So I would say Japan's probably our next top destination, and Taiwan.
We should have just gotten on that plane.
Oh man, we should have just
stayed in Taiwan.
Safest place right now in the world. Taiwan, and then you said you wanted to do like Iceland or something.
I wanted to go to the Blue Lagoon.
What's that?
It's like a giant spa, like outdoor, natural,
of course you
hot spring, and they have like amazing like beauty products. Actually, there's another place. We'll start writing it down. Wish list. If you really want me to be happy, just kidding.
See, guys, like this is how she sets it up. It's a trap, guys.
If you love me,
if you really love me, if my happiness is important to you, then you would blank.
It is, isn't it? I'm asking you a question.
Why don't you tell the audience? Why don't you tell the listeners?
I would love to go to Avignon. I think it's
Where is that?
That is in France.
France?
Yeah. I think it's like a medicinal, like, I think it's like the water there.
Medicinal? Okay. Yeah,
it's like they bottled the water to help treat like skin conditions. It's called Avignon. And basically it's like a science treatment facility for your skin. Yeah. Because I guess it's something special with the water there.
But what part of the world is it in?
I have no idea. I just saw it on
a
TV.
Magazine or something?
Yeah, and I'm like, I need to go there.
Sold.
That's youth? Check.
Yeah.
Spa? Check.
Anti-aging?
Perfect.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also Northern Lights. I mean, that's kind of cool too, right?
Yeah.
In Iceland, or you can see it from there.
Yeah.
And then we said, like our motherlands.
Yeah.
And Switzerland too. That would be really nice. But I think we'll start with Japan. And Taiwan.
Please make that happen for us, universe.
Hopefully. Yeah. But yep. So again, share with us, guys. We'd love to hear from you. Your top destinations, where you'd like to go, where you've been, some of the lessons you've learned. And we'd love to, connect with you. Especially on social media, right, love?
Yeah. On Instagram.
At Magnetic Mismatch.
On Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, so remember to give us a 5-star rating if you enjoy the content, and write us a nice review. But be honest too, if there's something that you think we can work on, we'd love to hear it. Yeah, we want feedback. We're working on getting better as well. And we do have a YouTube channel. We haven't really talked about it too much though, but we do have a YouTube channel where we're uploading videos of this podcast. We're a little bit behind on it, but that's okay. That was on purpose. Slowly trickle it out. Yeah. So make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Magnetic Mismatch, and like, comment, subscribe, like I said.
Yeah, and share our content.
Oh, yeah, that's important too. If you like this and you feel like someone could benefit from the content or maybe get some entertainment out of it, definitely share this with other people. We'd really appreciate it.
And once again, thank you so much for all of your support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to us. I'm still in shock.
Yeah. We have more than one listener.
Woo. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. So we'll keep making content as long as people out there want to hear it.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny too is like for us, you know, beyond just having like one person listen in, I think for us it was important to just have fun with this, right? And so far we're still having fun.
Yeah.
So cool. I guess until next time, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.